Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Muhammad Fahmi Amirul Maula Sazali, S55448. In this video, I will show how to prepare the content diagram to document account payable process at SMS. So, content diagram is actually a summary level view of a system. It shows the data processing system, its input and output, and their source and destination. Alright. Without further, let's start to prepare the content diagram. So as we see here, I'm going to use the Microsoft Visio, and here set up first the shape and connector. Okay, the first step is we are going to draw the shape of the process, and usually the process we will use the circle shape. This circle shape will represent the process that transforms data from input to output. In this shape, we can write anything. So we just click here and write. For the case, we will write SNS account payable. The next step is we will create the shape of the data source and destination. The shape that we going to use is square shape. The square shape will represent the people and organization and send the data to receive the data from the system. So in this case, we will draw 4 square shapes. Okay, for reason of 4 entities, which is purchasing, receiving, vendor and management. Alright, to complete this content diagram, we will connect all the shapes by using the arrow. This arrow will represent the flow of data into or out of the process, and normally this will represent by curve or straight line arrow. Okay, purchasing department send the purchase order. So we go to and purchase order. Okay, after that, receiving will send receiving report. Then vendor will send the invoice. And receive the payment and remittance advice. And the last, the manager, it will receive the account payable report. Reverse your data flow diagram of SNS account payable. It also known as content diagram is an overview of the whole system or process. First, set up shape and connector here that we are going to use. In level 0 data flow diagram, we are start from lower number to higher number in process. Okay, we are going to start from the lower number process. The first is 1.0 record payable. So we are going to use a circle shape. The circle shape represents the process that transforms data from input to output. Then the data source involved here is from vendor. Vendor, we are going to use the square shape, mean the external entities. So the data flow here is from vendor to the process. We are going to use curve arrow to represent the flow of the data, so the vendor will send the invoice to the process. Then in the record payable process, we'll transform the data and set it to account payable store and vendor invoice store. So we are going to use the data store. We'll represent by two horizontal lines. Okay, next we move to second process. The second process is we collect and store purchase order and receiving report. So we're going to use a circle shape to represent the data process. So, data source that will involve here is from purchasing and receiving department. So, we're going to use the square shape for purchasing and receiving department. So, from these two departments, it will send the data from purchasing order and receiving reports. So from the second process, it will transform the data and set it to purchase order store and receiving store reports. The data flow of the purchase order will be sent to purchase order, store and go back to process, collect and store. So okay, then we move to third process, which is the make payment process, and we go to use a circle shape, and here the data source that come to this process is from the data store. this process will receive the data from account payable store and it will go back to this store. Then it will receive data from vendor invoice, store, purchasing order store and receiving report store. Then, from the process, it will send the data to cash disbursement journal store. And send the data for payment and remittance advice to vendor. And send the data to the paid invoice store. So, for the last step and the last process is 4.0, preparing management reports. We will use a circle shape. Okay, it's from account payable store. And from this process, it will send the data. From this process, we will send the data of account payable report to management. In this video, I want to show that how to create document flowchart to document account payable processing at SNS. The function of document flowchart we actually is to illustrate the flow of document and data among areas of responsibility within an organization. So, in this video, I want to show step by step to create this flowchart by using the Microsoft Visio. Okay, as we can see here, I have chosen a few types of symbol or shape to create the flowchart, and also I have choose the flowchart template. And for information, we are going to create the flowchart that the data flow from the top to bottom and from left to right. And also in document flowchart, we are going to divide the chart into column with label. Okay, as you can see here, I have prepared 3 columns to document account payable process for this case. For first column, we label account payable. Second, we label controller, and the last, we label owner manager. So in the top column, we write what process we are going to document. Okay, in this video, we are going to document account payable at SNS. So we write SNS account payable. Okay, now we go column by column, which is from the left. What we are going to start here is from where the data come from. Okay, in this process, it will begin from purchasing, receiving, vendor. And here we are going to use this symbol and we call it as terminal. From terminal, it will send the data or document. For document, we will use the symbol. The symbol represents an electronic or paper document or report. First, document is purchase order, then receiving report and vendor invoice. All of the shape will connect by arrow. This arrow is document or process flow. And normally, the arrow is down and to the right. For purchase order, the receiving report will go to file of paper document. But by using this symbol, these two document will be filed at ordering sequence by A letter alphabet. After that, it will send to the manual operating to match all documents. For manual operating, we are use this shape. This represents the process operating by manually. For vendor invoice, it will be sent to process manually, which is to record account payable. Then, after record account payable manually, the data will send to prepare for account payable ledger and then document to vendor invoice. We'll go to the file of paper document to file ordering sequence using alphabet. For the ledger symbol, we are going to use this shape. Then the ledger will send to process manually, which is to prepare monthly account payable. After that, by the document account payable report will be connected to column owner managers. The circle shape represent on page connector is to avoid liners crease crossing a page. After all documents matched manually, all documents will connect to controller column. Also in column account payable, on page connector from column owner managers will appear here to file the document of purchase order, receiving report, vendor invoice and check to will alphabet A. Now we are go to controller column on page connector from column. Account payable here will connect the document of purchase order, receiving report, vendor invoice to prepare vendor check manually. After prepare the vendor check, the controller department will prepare cash disbursement journal. And the document and 2 copy check will be sent to owner managers department. Okay, here we continue with the last column, the document and the 2 check will be review and sign check manually. After that, check 1 will be sent to the vendor and another document with check 2 will be sent to account payable, which column to be filled. Account payable record from account payable column will be reviewed manually by owner managers department, then file the document by date. Right, now we are finished of creating the document flowchart to document account payable processing at SMS.